going anywhere because we're talking NFL, where the Cowboys are the focus of today's required reading at ESPN.com. Todd Archer examined the ways in which Dallas is turning to past stars to inspire the current team. One note that stood out comes from new head coach Brian Schottenheimer, who said the following, quote, "I think the more those guys are around, the more we see their Super Bowl rings, which they wear very proudly. I think that's great for our guys because that's why we do it. We don't hide from that." So, Cowboys, Kevin, I looked this up. They haven't been to the Super Bowl in a while. I don't know if that's mentioned.
This can backfire because they can see the Super Bowl rings and go, oh, we're not those guys, and we're far away from those guys. So I'm not sure how helpful this is really going to be.
But, I mean, is there a lot of pressure? I mean, like Brian Schottenheimer, first-year coach, kind of nobody saw coming in terms of a hire. Is there a lot of pressure on him?
No, there's not. In my opinion, we know what the Cowboys are. They're going to win 9, 10, 11 games. They're not going to win the Super Bowl. They don't have the talent for that. You don't hire Brian Schottenheimer if you're a Super Bowl contender. So by definition, Schottenheimer is not under pressure. I just don't think it's that kind of team.
But you do hire Brian Schottenheimer if you believe that he can take this offense and the quarterback, Dak Prescott, to a whole nother level, which I believe they can, and here's why. They now have 3 first-round picks on the offensive line. Kind of reminds me of our really good New York Jet days when Brian Schottenheimer was our offensive coordinator. We had a great offensive line. And if they could stabilize that, get Dak to play in 17 games, control the ball, which is something Brian believes in, that will minimize the biggest deficiency of this team, which is their defense. I think they could win 9 or 10 games. I think that's a successful season for Brian Schottenheimer. And Graz, I agree with what Kevin said. Like, I don't think there's a lot of pressure because for once we're talking about the Dallas Cowboys, not with these massive expectations. So I think clearly Philly and Washington have much greater expectations. And I think Brian can establish a lot of credibility in year 1.
What do you think, Harry? What would success look like for Brian Schottenheimer in his first year as head coach?
I would say having the ability to make the playoffs, but I do agree also with Kevin and Mike Tannenbaum. When you look at Brian Schottenheimer, one of the reasons why they hired him, you look at him offensively, they did not run the football successfully. He did that with the New York Jets. Mike T.U. was there with him. He also did that when he was with the Seattle Seahawks. What has kind of been one of the deficiencies of the Dallas Cowboys in their offense, the inability to run the football. I do not believe that you can contend at any level of football if you're not balanced offensively. And that's exactly what they're going to be this year. He's going to make it a point of emphasis from OTAs to training camp on to the regular season. I understand that they acquired George Pickens, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to run the football. I believe in that offensive line. They're young, but they have invested into that offensive line. Those guys are going to be better. And the better they are, the better the Cowboys will be as the season goes along as well.
When Dak came into the league, they had the monster offensive line with all those first-round picks. They had the great running game with Ezekiel Elliott. Like, do they have the personnel to be that kind of team again?
No, they don't. And by the way, you mentioned how good Schotty was running the football with New York. Mike T got him some studs in the backfield. There's no Mike T there. There's just Jerry Jones messing up the roster as it goes along.
But we did overpay Damian Woody, so there's that.
Damian Woody. Yeah, I thought for a second you were talking about Jerry Jones was going to be the running back, but which I think would be hilarious. But no.
See that depth chart?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with the running game. All right, it's Independence Day, so we decided we would ask our football analysts each for an independent thought. I want something that's just yours. I'm not hearing it everywhere else. The further out of left field, the better. Kevin Clark.
The selection from ESPN for the biggest offseason surprise and winner was cornerback Kaire Elum, which is a very good thing for the Cowboys, given the cornerback questions they are currently facing. Here's what ESPN's Todd Archer wrote, saying the Cowboys acquired Elum in a trade from Buffalo after he was not able to solidify himself with the Bills. The Cowboys had him highly rated when he came into the NFL. He started just 12 games in 3 years with 2 picks, but he flashed on numerous occasions in OTAs and minicamp. He had multiple interceptions and even dropped 2 more. He also showed the ability to run with the receivers. Maybe things change when the pads come on in training camp, but given the uncertainty the Cowboys have at corner with Trayvon Diggs and third-round pick Savone Revel Jr. working their way back from knee injuries, they need Elum to be a factor. Now, if you watched any of our OTAs and minicamp coverage, Elum earning praise is probably not a surprise to you now. It is maybe a surprise given where he was viewed going into OTAs and minicamp, but it's a good thing to hear it again. And it is a positive outcome for the Cowboys and a good outcome overall for Dallas, assuming he can kind of keep stacking good days together once the pads do come on. Because the Cowboys need somebody to step up at corner. Somebody has to step up and be a piece for them. Elum was doing that early in the offseason. He's taken advantage of the opportunity that was presented to him. And it feels like, at least for now, and we'll see what the injury statuses are, but with DaRon Bland seemingly in line to play a lot of nickel corner, it seems like Elum is in line to start at corner, and we'll see if and when he gives that job up. The Bland can do inside-outside stuff. Diggs, I don't think, is ready for week one. We had some updates on that yesterday. Go check it out. It's on the channel. Revel, I am excited about long-term, but he probably is going to need some time, frankly. And the other competitions, Kalen Carson and Izzy Mukuamu and Booth. And there's a real possibility that Elum is the top 3 corner throughout the Cowboys season, especially since injuries happen. And he might be counted on throughout the year, not just early on. So are you drinking the Kaire Elum Kool-Aid, or are you a little hesitant to buy in? I get both, frankly. Why for yes and for no? Sound off in the comments of today's show. You think back to our OTA minicamp coverage, or even just following online social media. Every day that was open to the media at OTAs and at minicamp was another pass breakup for Kaire Elum, another PBU. And that's what you want overall. You do want both sides of the ball getting wins. And this extends to training camp. Like, I don't, unless it's like really, numerous, I actually am okay with my quarterbacks throwing interceptions in OTAs and minicamp. It means, A, they're trying things. They're not just taking the check down, which is boring and not a good sign for your overall health of your offense. And if your defense isn't making any plays, probably means one is bad. And I think he kind of had some issues with that with kind of the secondary overall at OTAs and minicamp, kind of the second unit even, because you had a lot of corners banged up. Trayvon Diggs was not out there at all due to his knee rehab. Savone Revel, did some individual stuff, but wasn't really out there. Josh Butler was rehabbing. Andrew Booth missed time with some undisclosed issue. Kalen Carson did some individual stuff, but he wasn't out there. So then it was like, hey, you got DaRon Bland, we got Kaire Elum, Izzy Mukuamu. Shoot, our second team corners are like, Bruce Harmon, Kamon Hall are getting real playing time. And it was a very dicey, thin group overall. That's why the second team offense had so much success, because it's a bunch of fringe at best NFL players, fringe practice squatters, frank graded. But this was a player I liked a lot coming out of Florida. I liked a lot of his game, even though there's been some concern in recent years over Florida corners in general that so far has unfortunately bore true for different reasons for each guy, unfortunately. That's why I don't helmet scout. I am hoping a change of scenery helps. Coming out of the draft, and these are all publicly available, you can always go check out my grades. There's plenty of things wrong there. I had a first/second round Coward's grade on him. He was 19th overall on my board. He went 23rd, one pick before Dallas took Tyler Smith, which was a huge miss for me. I had him as the 4th ranked corner. He was the 4th ranked corner that was taken. By the way, the corners in front of him, Derek Stingley, Sauce Gardner, Trent McDuffie, all of whom were top 10 players for me. That was a really good cornerback class, man, especially at the top. But Elum hasn't done much. He just never got going in Buffalo, whether it was a fit, schematic thing. It never fits the way it was supposed to fit. It was very strange and weird how things never quite materialized the way they were supposed to. In the end, Elum got flipped for a 6th and a 5th round swap. Those picks, by the way, it was 170 to the Bills, ended up becoming Jordan Hancock. There's also a future pick next year going to Buffalo. Dallas got 204 back. They took Ajani Cornelius in the 6th round. So it was Elum, a future pick, and Ajani Elum, a future pick, Ajani Cornelius for Jordan Hancock. Like, they didn't give up very much. They moved down essentially a round to get Kaire Elum. And so far, the returns have been positive there. Again, more on this to come. But if you are a true diehard Cowboys fan, look, I know what time of the year it is. It's July. I know that if you're watching this far into a video, you just love the Cowboys and you love football. So if you haven't already subbed, we're one of the few YouTube channels doing daily videos out there. This time of the year, people got vacation stuff. I might take a couple day trip. I'm still going to put videos out each day. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/@CowboysTV. So overall with Kaire Elum and expectations and stuff, I don't even think the ideal realistic, if it is the peak idea, but the ideal realistic outcome is that Elum lives up to his draft position this year for Dallas. He looks like a top 10 corner, and oh my God, the Cowboys got the greatest steal of all time. That'd be great. I would be very happy if Kaire Elum simply becomes a low-end, survivable starting corner. Someone that, like, he's not going to lock down A.J. Brown or Devonta Smith and be a lockdown corner like the way I thought he had the potential to be, but just someone that, like, okay, he's out there. He's not Derek Stingley. He's not Sauce Gardner. He's not Trent McDuffie from that class, but it's not Deshaun Wright either. Like, not even sorry for the shade, frankly. Like, someone who can play, can be a contributor, can be a part of your defense, that you don't have to be like, we got a game plan around our number 2 corner being terrible. My top concern for this Cowboys cornerback room overall is that we kind of revert back to some previous years. Remember that playoff run? You ended up beating the Packers, but you were trying every single corner out there. You were trying Kelvin Joseph. You were trying Deshaun Wright. You signed Xavier Rhodes off the street. You gave Izzy Mukwamu a chance in the playoffs, and it actually worked out pretty well. Like, that is what I want to avoid, where the Cowboys are trying somebody new every single week at corner, and it's just not working. Give me steady, survivable play, and that'll be a win from a trade perspective and an impact perspective for the 1-year trial run of Kaire Elum. So what is your confidence level in Elum? Scale it for me from 1 to 10. 1, obviously, on the low end, 10 on the high end. Let me know in the comments of today's show.